Good morning and welcome to Beach Day. My name is Pacific, like the ocean, obviously perfect fit for beach day. And
my name is Soleil. I remember that because of my giant sun headband today.
Makes me look tiny.
Very tall in the sky, like the sun. You might remember me from a few nights ago, teaching you some line dancing and telling some stories. But
before we get started, I want to tell you a little bit more about ourselves, especially I haven't met any of you guys yet. Some things to know about me is I love the ocean. It's probably not surprising because I picked the nature name Pacific, but I love listening to the sounds of the waves crash. I love the smell of the fresh ocean air. Most of all, I love to go swimming in the ocean, feel right at home. Even though the water in the Pacific Ocean is super cold, I always feel so refreshed. And some things that I love that are not the ocean, some other things. I really love sour things. I love all food sour. I love sour candy. Sometimes I'll just eat a lemon, like, you know those ones you get with a drink, you just eat the whole thing. And I just love sushi. It's one of my favorite foods. Fish, the ocean, you know, all things go together.
And just a reminder about who I am. Again, I'm Soleil, and Soleil is the French word for sun. And I really like a lot of things, but I especially like these white cowboy boots. Here they are. Here they are again. Here they are a third time. Feel free to admire them all day long. I also really like climbing trees. I like laying in the sun and just get like sweating a lot. I like all the things the sun makes grow, like food. I really like bread and spaghetti and macaroni and cheese and grilled cheese and everything you could put under that general category of bread and cheese in some way. But let's get started with our beach day. Enough about us.
So our first activity is called Stand Up If, and this is to get your body moving a little bit and also to get you in the mindset of the beach. So the way this works is we're going to say stand up if, and while you are at home, hopefully you can stand up with us if this applies to you. So if I said stand up if you like dogs, and then you can have a seat. So it works like that, except we're going to do all these things related to the beach. So the first one, you can stand up if you've ever been to the beach. And you can have a seat.
And you can stand on up if you've ever had a pet fish.
And have a seat. Stand up if you've ever been to an aquarium and seen a whole world underwater. And you can have a seat.
And stand up if you've ever been swimming. Whee! All right, and sit back down. Awesome. And we are going to move on into our next little getting into the beach zone. But before we do, you can shoot us some comments down below of some of your favorite memories from the beach, things that make you think of the beach, like animals or different parts of the beach, things you like to do at the beach or at the ocean.
Anything beach related, we'd love to hear it.
Yeah.
Let us know in the comments.
Send us some of your best memes and we'll see if we can read them out loud. All right, for this part, you may have noticed, but we are not at the beach yet. We are still, I know,
This
it's really
looks like the
confusing.
beach to me.
Very confusing sometimes. So I just sometimes walk out into the woods and think I'm at the beach, but I'm actually completely wrong. So we are going to use our imagination and get moving a little bit more and stretch up because it's morning. We might be a little sleepy still. And travel to the beach together. So everybody stand on up. Stand up, and we're going to travel to the beach. So I want you guys to imagine we're standing and we're walking. We're going to walk out our front door. So open your door, walk outside. And we're walking down the street. And we're going to turn left. And we're walking left. And then you turn another corner. Turn another corner, and then turn another corner. And suddenly the ground beneath your feet starts to get a little sandy, and it's super weird. It's super weird. And you can feel the sand beneath your toes. And it's kind of cold, kind of warm, feels kind of like twisty. And you see this big hill of sand in front of you, so you start to climb it. You're climbing, climbing the sand hill, getting your hands all in the sand, getting your knees all in the sand, and getting all covered in sand like you do whenever you go to the beach. You get sand in every little part of you. And then you get to the top of the hill, and you can see the beautiful waves crashing back and forth. They're so beautiful. Wow. Those waves.
The prettiest waves I've ever seen.
I feel so at peace when I watch the waves flow back and forth. It's such a great way to start my morning. And you start to climb down that hill. You kind of slide down like you're surfing. And you get down to the beach, and you're kind of walking along that beautiful shore. Maybe you pick up some cool rocks. Maybe you think about taking it, but you leave it there because you know you should leave it. And you walk in, maybe some shells, maybe you see some cool stuff left along, washed up by the shore. And you see the sun coming up really high, so you reach up really tall towards the sun. And then you reach down and put your hands in the waves, feel kind of cold and foamy. And you wipe them off, and you put out your blanket, and you take a seat. Because you are at the beach, and you are ready to learn some more things, sing some songs, and share some stories about the beach. And the waves just flow back out to sea.
You want to hear some of the activities the students like to do?
Yeah, we'd love
we'd
to.
love to.
Come on and tell us.
So we've
lady.
got... Hi, everyone. This morning, Stephanie was telling us that she loves whale watching.
Me too.
And some of these were
You're
in
in luck,
that
Stephanie.
really cool little guided meditation. So I love that. Natalia loves making sandcastles. Smita loves to play in the waves. Glad
Me
we had
too.
some
Yeah.
waves going on.
Yeah.
And Benji loves picking up shells on the beach.
Yes, that's my
Nalini also
favorite
likes
thing.
swimming. Are we going to go swimming today?
No.
Oh.
We won't be swimming.
Sorry,
We will
Nalini.
not be doing that.
We really wish we could.
You can go swimming later in your bathtub.
So,
But
thank you so
Go ahead.
much for all of your comments about the beach. And one of the really cool things that we noticed is there were some people who were hanging out on the sandy shore, picking up shells. Other people who liked whale watching. And whales don't exactly live on the sandy shore. They live in a different ecosystem that is also connected to the beach. And so this word ecosystem is a place where there are living creatures and also the non-living things that help up make their whole environment. So what we're going to do today is we're going to travel to a bunch of different ecosystems, and we're going to learn about a bunch of different animals that live in these ecosystems. So we want to give you one more vocabulary word before we get started with our different ecosystem tour, and this word is adaptation. And adaptation is something that an animal has that helps it survive in that ecosystem, because the same kind of animals that survive on the sandy shore, like little crabs, might not survive in an open ocean where a whale survives, and a whale definitely can't survive on the sandy shore either. So they have these different adaptations to help them survive. So now that we have those two main vocabulary words, ecosystem and adaptation, we're going to go travel to our first ecosystem, and it's one we already talked about, and it's the open ocean. So you can tell us some of your favorite animals that live in the open ocean. One of our friends already mentioned whales, but there's tons of other creatures that live out there. So let us know in the comments some of your favorites. And in the meantime, we're going to paint a fuller picture of what's out there by talking to our naturalists while we wait to hear what you have to say. So can anyone tell us some of their favorite animals from the open ocean?
Barracuda.
Barracuda. That's a
Ooh,
big fish.
Barracuda.
Yeah, Cholo, tell us one.
My favorite animal, because sometimes lives in the open ocean, is otters. I love otters.
They're so cute, and they
so
hold
cute.
on to each other when they sleep, which is just adorable. If you haven't seen a picture after this live stream, definitely go look it up. Adorable.
and they can use tools, which is pretty cool.
Yeah. Pops looks like she's in the chair.
A giant squid.
Yes!
Snap.
Poppy, can you maybe give us your best giant squid impression? It's just something I've wanted to see my entire life.
They've got a lot of tentacles,
How many?
like this.
A little bit like
You can do Poppy Squid impersonation at home.
Like,
Wow, thanks, Poppy. Now I really feel like I'm at home in the open ocean.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Bruce, you have one you want to share with us?
harbor seals.
Harbor seals.
So cute.
reminds
any of
me
you-
of someone, but I can't quite figure out who. Harbor.
Yeah, we'd love to hear some of their favorites.
Wow, we've got such a diversity of animals that the students like. We've got Carrie who loves sunfish. I also love
Oh,
sunfish.
those are so
Sunfish are
cool. They're
cool.
sunfish.
So cool.
Beach day, sunfish. Yeah.
Tara loves octopi.
Yes.
They're some of the smartest animals in the world.
They are
And
incredible.
very squishy.
We found one tide pooling.
Yeah.
That one time. That was amazing. Trina loves bottlenose dolphins. Another super intelligent open ocean
Yeah.
animal. And Leanne loves the narwhal.
Oh, yes.
No, we're not doing that.
I think Hazel has some more.
Oh my god.
More.
New comment lady today.
Who are you?
Paul likes turtles, and also Haranja does like turtles as well. Natalia likes jellyfish. Barbara, polar bears. Alyssa likes dolphins and sea otters.
Two great choices.
Yeah.
Adele likes whales, and Nicole likes clownfish.
Wow, these are
Like
so
Finding Nemo.
yeah. These are so many cool animals that live out in the open ocean, and that really helps paint a full picture. But I really shout out to Adele who picked the same favorite animal as me. My favorite animal in the whole world is the orca.
Oh, yeah.
Not just any whale, but the orca. But you know, all whales will do. They're so cool. They're so magnificent. They're so smart and so beautiful. And I think we're gonna go a little more dive in depth with with whales as we talk about the open ocean.
Yeah. Dive in depth. Ha ha ha. That's hilarious.
great.
Yeah, so it was so crazy. Like, we're out here in the open ocean where we are right now, and I thought that I saw Lady Nightshade swimming around in the water. It was crazy. We were in the middle of the ocean.
Can't tackle.
We were in a boat because, you know,
That's
I'm a
because
good
we're at the
swimmer,
beach.
but not that good of a swimmer. But Lady Nightshade was just, she was swimming through the water. I think, where is she? Lady Nightshade? Oh my God! Lady Nightshade!
Hi, Soleil.
Hello, Lady Nightshade.
Hi, Pacific. How are we doing today?
You look like you're very ready for the beach.
I am so ready.
Have you seen anything cool out in the open ocean? Looks
Oh
like you're really ready.
My goodness, I saw every single type of whale.
No,
Every single kind.
Every single kind.
Lady Nightshade, what's on your feet?
What's on my feet? My trusty flippers. Who are swimming quickly with the dolphins.
They
And
do
the whales.
look like,
And the whales.
yeah, they kind of look like fish flippers. too.
Yes.
That's very cool.
They help me commune with nature.
You know, I've really, really been trying to commune with nature. Pacific loves whales so much that I was like, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna go chat with these whales and see if they want to come and hang out with Pacific and I, because I'm just a really good friend, and I wanted to do that for
So
her.
much, so
Yeah.
much.
And I was trying to talk to these whales, so obviously I went out to the deep ocean and I went,
Oh my goodness. Oh wow.
And like, so obviously I expected to hear them respond and be like, yeah, what's up, Soleil? Like, want to hang out? And I didn't hear anything.
They didn't respond.
I got no response.
Beautiful call.
I was like, you know, maybe it's just kind of quiet, so I thought I should do it a little bit louder, because the ocean's like a
Oh.
really big place.
Yeah.
So like, if I do it a little louder, a little something like
Oh,
this.
okay.
Oh,
Okay. Yeah. Oh yeah, yeah.
kind of like
yeah,
that,
get
and
it.
like add a little something
Yeah,
special to
yeah,
it.
yeah.
So I was just like, please, like, come on over, guys. Like, I really want to talk. This is my friend. Like, I really want you to meet her. But I got nothing. How are you finding all these whales to talk
Soleil,
to?
I don't know how to break this to you, but you're kind of calling the whales stinky and mean in whale speak. I think that might be why they weren't responding to you.
I've been doing whale Duolingo every day and like
Oh,
trying to
no.
practice my whale language, but like, I really thought I had it.
Oh, I think whoever wrote that Duolingo didn't do a good job then.
Man,
Oh
I've been
boy.
studying so hard. Wait, well,
Okay, let me
you're
teach you how
1,000
I
years
do
old.
it.
Yeah, you're
I
super
use my
old, you
magical
got this.
powers,
Yeah.
and I found the best way to talk to the whales because, of course, whales are musical creatures, especially
yeah.
the humpback whales.
Oh,
They
for
sing
sure.
to each other.
Yeah,
The best,
like me.
the best way to talk to the whales is to just sing to them. And I actually wrote a special
Okay.
song, and this is how I call the whales through this song.
Okay.
This song is called Cetacea.
Is it? It's about whales?
Yeah.
Let us know in the comments if there are any kinds of whales you can think of, and then listen closely. You might hear some of those whales in this song, because I'm sure if Lady Nightshade is talking to whales, they're talking to
All of the whales. I'm gonna call out all of the whales in this song. All my whales holler back at me. Because I'm gonna call them out in this song. So listen for them. And cetacea, by the way, is the scientific word for whales and dolphins.
Oh, okay.
So at a certain part of the song, I go, Cetacea! Like that. And you can sing along, too. It's pretty easy. So it's important to start out slow like this. Ready?
Yeah.
Humpback, finback, orca, and gray. Hey! Noah, bowhead, beaked Mickey say, hey! The sperm with a dolphin, the little bird piston. Hey! The right and the pilot, the white and the blue. Cetacea! Okay, and that's it. And then they all come, and then it's all fun. Yeah.
Lady Nightshade, I think. Whoa.
Oh,
That's great.
see, we got some whale friends already.
It's a beach
Oh,
squirrel!
get back in the water. What are you doing?
I think that was a really cool song to call the whales, but I bet if we do it even faster, we might see even
Faster?
more whales.
Sure, if I wanted, okay, I can try it a bit
I'm
faster.
ready, yeah.
Okay, is
Okay,
everybody
okay.
ready? This is
I
getting
think
a little
I think
faster.
we're ready, yeah.
And you know when
Okay.
those hays come along at home, you can say
You
those
can go,
nice and loud.
Hey! All right, ready?
Ready?
Humpback, finback, orca, and gray. Hey! Noah, bowhead, beaked Mickey say, hey! The sperm with a dolphin, the little bird piston. Hey! The right and the pilot, the white and the blue. Cetacea! Okay, and then they all come, and then it's all fun. We have a
Whoa.
good chat. We have a tea party,
Your
you know?
tea party?
Yeah, and then that's it.
I think you could get every whale in the ocean now if you do it at your highest speed.
As fast as I possibly can. Oh gosh, I don't know if I can do it.
I
Okay.
think you can do it.
You think I can do
I
that?
think you
I
guys.
can do it?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll try my best. I'm gonna try super speed. Ready?
And I think our friends at home can get those hey, hey, hey
Hey!
in there with us and definitely hit the cetacea.
Cetacea!
So
Okay, you
do
ready?
it along
Here we
with
go.
us at home.
See if you can count how many hundred whales there are in the song.
Back, fin, back, orca, and gray. Hey, no, whoa, whoa, hey, big me, say, hey, bird, with the dolphin. The red to the violet, the white to the blue. Cetacea! Okay, and I can't do it any faster than
I'm
that.
out of breath.
Oh my
Do we
gosh.
have a comment later?
We have
Oh.
some comments from the students about certain whales that you guys were singing about.
Yeah.
Talia mentioned a couple different whales that I want to shout out. The whale shark,
Whale shark.
great blue whales,
Great
that's
blue.
what I was. Humpback, orca,
Yeah.
and sperm whales.
Nice job.
Awesome.
Whale expert,
Whale
Talia.
Yeah, way to
expert.
go.
I believe the whale shark is actually, it's a shark.
It's a shark.
And a
Huge
whale?
one, though.
Whale
Like,
shark?
Whale-sized
Who
shark.
can say?
That's a
Wow.
misleading name.
Yeah.
Is it a
Okay.
whale? Is it a shark? Oh, man, okay. I'm still out of breath from trying to sing along with
Oh my
you.
gosh, yeah.
Lady Nightshade, I don't know how you did that. Like, whew, you've been spending a lot of times with those whales. I
Oh,
think
yeah.
you're starting to act like them. Can I just ask you a question, Lady Nightshade? Just like a quick cue for personal knowledge.
Okay, yes.
So, like, my other issue with calling the whales is like every time I try to go under there, underwater, obviously.
Yeah.
And
Good
I
hang.
pop down there and I go, "Ah!" scream, and sing and call them. But then I have
Yeah.
to pop back up like 2 seconds later for
Oh,
a big breath of
yeah.
air.
Yeah.
And like, I know that whales breathe air too, and they're mammals, but
Yeah.
how come they can stay underwater for so much longer than me? And how can you stay underwater and talk to the whales for so long? Can you hold your breath as long as a whale?
Well, I am, of course, a magical, all-powerful being, so of course I can just cast a spell on myself and, like,
right.
just, breathe underwater and stuff like that. But,
I also can do that.
oh yeah, of
Yeah.
course, Pacific can do
Right,
that
right,
too.
right.
She's in the know. But, if I didn't have my magical powers, I probably couldn't hold my breath longer than, like, 3 minutes,
Yeah.
probably.
Wow.
That even seems like a long time.
Yeah, maybe.
I heard that whales can hold their breath for over an hour.
An hour,
An
yeah.
hour.
Yeah.
That would be a very long time for me to try to hold my breath.
I
I could
know.
definitely get out a lot of whale calls in that time.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm thinking, like, I just need to practice
Yeah, maybe.
holding my breath and kind of get into the mindset of a whale so then I can talk to whales a little easier.
How do you plan on practicing?
Well, I'm glad you asked, Lady Nightshade, because I've been trying this really cool challenge. I saw it on the internet, and I thought that it would be a super normal thing for me to try to do.
Okay.
And I'm going to challenge all of you at home to try this with us and all of our naturalists. So this is the Whale Run Challenge.
The Whale Run
The
Challenge.
Whale Run Challenge. Say that 10 times fast.
Whale Run Challenge. Whale Run Challenge.
Whale
Whale
Run
Run.
Challenge. And because they can hold their breath for so long, they have a lot of cool adaptations that they use to do that. And so, you know, I was like, we don't have those adaptations, but
Yeah.
maybe I'll give it a try. I'll give it a try
Sure.
anyways. So the Whale Run Challenge is where you take one really deep breath.
Are we starting?
And no, this is a
This is a demo.
demo.
Can I pause really quick before you start because we've had some
Yes.
confusion. Marco's thinking that maybe whales have gills to breathe, and then and Fisa was saying maybe it's a blowhole, and I just wanted you all to clarify how are they doing this
That's a
crazy
good
breathing?
question.
So
Important.
they have a lot of different adaptations because they do live in the water all the time. They never come up on land
No.
Unless they get beach.
unless they get beat,
Which is bad news.
which
Yeah,
would be bad.
They belong in the water.
Yeah. So they have to do a lot of different things to hold their breath for so long. But one way that they do it that's really important, and we're going to do a little demonstration to help us understand this. So everyone put your hand on your chest like this. And this is like the rate of a human heartbeat. So it's like a little faster. And then a whale's heartbeat is kind of like this. 30 seconds to a minute later. 30 seconds to a minute later. 30 seconds to a minute later.
That's so slow.
So it is a lot slower.
Whoa.
It's really slow. And do you know how that might help them use less oxygen? What is our heart pumping out when it's beating?
Blood.
Blood, which carries what?
Oxygen.
Oxygen. So when that blood's carrying out oxygen to our body every time it pumps, it's helping us move our arms and dance and swim and do all of that important stuff we need to do. But when it's pumping out a lot slower, it needs less fresh air to be pumped out because it's not pumping it out, it's not refreshing it as quickly. So they can stay underwater for a long time without having to replenish that fresh air.
And
We have a question from the audience. Cindy wants to know if whales practice holding their breath.
I'd say
Maybe.
probably.
I'm not really sure. As we talked earlier, I can't talk to the whales. I can watch them when they come up for air, and they blow out the water, and then they go back down, and then they come back up, and they go back down, and then they just disappear. So I would assume that they're pretty good at it, but I don't know if they like practice like we might. But I don't know.
And to clarify earlier that question about if they have gills or not, whales have lungs. Their
do.
lungs are massive.
Yeah.
And they have to come up for air every now and again and get a big breath in. And then they dive down and they hold their breath for an hour.
Yeah.
It's all in their lungs.
They
Just
are
like we
holding
have
their breath.
lungs, whales have lungs, but they're a little bigger than ours, which is another of those adaptations.
Yeah, that's right. So, I mean, my lungs, I feel like, are pretty strong, pretty big. You know, I like to
Think you could
run
do
around.
the whale run challenge?
So I feel like I could do the whale run challenge, and I'll tell you guys how it goes. So you take one big deep breath, like when a whale comes up to the top of the water to take one big deep breath, and then you swim in circles for 25 seconds.
25
And see
seconds.
if you can hold your breath that long. You know, I get a little impatient. I don't want to try to do it for an hour. That'd be a really long time. I
Also,
just get kind of bored. So
Might
I
be
mean,
difficult for us human beings too.
I don't know. I
Without
don't know.
magical powers.
Maybe I could do it. It's kind of boring for an hour. So I want to just try it for 25 seconds. Do you guys want to do it with us?
I'll
Yeah.
count so you can test it out.
Okay, thank you. All right,
Ready?
let's take that last deep breath.
And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 25.
Oh, I did it! Woohoo!
Okay,
That's a really tough challenge.
that was really
You should
hard.
let us know in the comments if you were able to complete it.
Yeah.
Swimming around for 25 seconds, and then you can imagine what it's like for a whale swimming around for a whole hour, just holding all that air in their lungs.
I could not do that. I think maybe I was a little overconfident myself.
Overconfident.
I do have asthma.
It's a good thing.
It's holding me back. I could definitely maybe do it for at least 25 seconds if I didn't have asthma. So it's like not my fault.
Good
but-
thing we're gonna go to our next ecosystem so we can leave that challenge behind.
No,
Because
yeah.
our next ecosystem is the Rocky Shore.
Oh, the Rocky
Yay,
Shore.
the Rocky Shore.
Rock out.
So we want to tell you a little bit about the Rocky Shore. And the Rocky Shore is something we call tide pools. And if you've ever been tide pooling, let us know in the comments. It's one of my favorite activities. But what makes a tide pool is their water has high and low tide because the moon actually has a gravitational pull all the way from outer space that moves the water a little bit. So when the tide is high, the water comes all the way up, and then when the tide is low, it goes out. But where the rocks are, it makes these small little pools of water where some animals get stuck inside. So we get to explore those tide pools. But before we get to exploring those tide pools, I think there's something we need, Soleil.
Yeah. You know, tide pools are really important. You know, for the open ocean, maybe we want flippers and
Yeah,
paddles
maybe
and
this,
masts. But for the tide pools, it can be really slippery, kind of crazy down there. So we
Oh.
wanna put these bright neon vests on here.
Okay.
Lady Nightshade, you can have one. You can have one. I'll take one. I'll
Put
put
on
these
them.
bright vests on, and usually we'll have some people wearing these vests mark out the boundaries of how far we're gonna go. Because, like Pacific said, the water goes out, but it's still crashing in waves towards the edge of the tide pool. So you want to be careful that you're not too close to those waves, and you never turn your back to the waves because they can surprise you and kind of come out of nowhere. So we stay within the people of the neon vest. We bring our fanny pack med kit because stay safe out there, everybody. You got to do it. And when we're walking through the tide pools, we go low and slow. We're moving low, we're moving slow, we're moving lower, we're moving slower. So we can stay extra safe we're in the tide pools.
So we have a song that we're going to sing about the tide pools. I know, a song, amazing. So we want you all to be singing along at home. This song is called The Tide Pool Boogie, and we definitely want you to be boogieing along with us. So everyone stand on up. This is a repeat after me song.
This is the repeat after me song.
If you go down to the ocean,
If you go down to the ocean,
down by some rocky shore,
down by some rocky shore,
when the tides go down, you'll be dancing
when the tide goes down, you'll be dancing
like you never danced before.
like you never danced before.
Do the tide pool boogie, boogie, woogie, woogie.
The tide pool boogie, boogie, woogie, woogie.
Listen to that ocean beat.
Listen to that ocean beat.
Do the tide pool boogie, boogie, woogie, woogie. It's amazing who you'll meet.
You do the tide pool boogie, boogie, woogie, woogie. It's amazing who you'll meet.
Do the tide pool boogie, boogie, woogie, woogie as the wind and the water play.
You do the tide pool boogie, boogie, woogie, woogie as the wind and water play.
You do the tide pool boogie, boogie, woogie, woogie. You can do it now twice a day.
You do the tide pool boogie, boogie, woogie, woogie. You can do it now twice a day.
And while we're boogieing, you can write in the comments below if you've ever been tide pooling and if you found anything cool while you were there.
So we're going to get started. We have some verses, but we're going to start with the chorus to get you all singing along because we just taught you that, so you should know the words at least a little bit, and as the song goes on, it'll get even clearer. So are we ready?
Yeah.
1, 2, 3. If you go down to the ocean,
Down by the rocky shore,
rock out.
when the tides go out, you'll be dancing like you never danced before. You do the tide pool boogie, boogie, woogie, woogie as the wind to that ocean beat. You do the tide pool boogie, boogie, woogie, woogie. It's amazing who you'll meet.
holding on tightly. Limpets are doing the 1-foot slide. Hermit crabs are looking for new homes, while sea palms are swaying side to side.
If you go down to the ocean, down by some rocky shore, rock out. When the tide goes out, you'll be dancing like you never danced before. You do the tide pool boogie, 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 and listen to that ocean beat. You do the tide pool boogie, 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 it's amazing who you'll meet. You do the tide pool boogie, 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 as the winds and the water play. You do the tide pool boogie, 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 you can do it now twice a day.
Echinoderms have skin that is spiny. That's a sea star. Cephalopods a head with arm, feet. An octopus. Gastropods a foot with a stomach. That's a sea slug. Tide pool critters are the strangest you'll meet.
If you go down to the ocean, down by some rocky shore, rock out. When the tide goes out, you'll be dancing like you never danced before. You do the tide pool boogie, 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 listen to that ocean beat. You do the tide pool boogie, 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 it's amazing who you'll meet. You do the tide pool boogie, 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 as the winds and the water play. You do the tide pool boogie, 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 you can do it now twice a day. Woo! Woo! Tide pool in! Warm fuzzies to all of you at home. Thank you for singing along with us and to all of our incredible Natties for
It looks like we have some comments.
We have so many comments from the audience.
Wow.
Thank you all for writing in. Stephanie said she went on a tide pool field trip when she was in third grade. A couple students said that actually. Eddie found an anemone and crabs in the tide pools. Sahana saw sea urchins. Gary saw 50 mussels.
50?
Yes. Donna saw lots of little creatures and shells. And Olivia saw crabs and also got a claw of a lobster.
Whoa!
Pretty cool.
And Talia found a dead moon jelly.
Whoa!
Isn't that
That's
awesome?
crazy. I hope you poked it.
Carrie found crabs, sea anemones, clams, oysters, barnacles, snails, and hermit crabs.
Yes!
That sounds like a great day to
She
try
hit the
something.
jackpot.
Get ready for this one. Renuka found some type of eggs in the tide pool.
Ooh, who's laying eggs in
They
the
think
tide
that they might have been turtle eggs.
Whoa!
Wouldn't that be amazing?
That would be.
Amita also saw a sea anemone. We might get to see one here later today, huh? And then Ruby found a giant California sea cucumber as well as a goby.
No way.
So cool.
These students have found such cool things.
I know. I'm so glad to hear you guys have had so many cool tide pool experiences. Well, now that we're here,
It's time to go tide pooling.
Yeah.
yeah, it's a good thing we have some real live animals from our tank in our nature lab at Outdoor Ed that come and get gathered by naturalists through the year, and they come and vacation with us in our marine tank, and then we release them at the end of the school year. So let's bring out some of those animals. Yeah, we've got some really cool, really alive. It's a real live animal.
Isn't that crazy?
I know. Whoa, I gotta be careful with this big thing. A living one, another living one that's super real and alive. And then we have some other living ones. Those are, oh, I gotta gently put them down. Gently put them down. And then,
Be careful, so like.
I know. These ones, they might look fake, but I know these look really fake, but I promise they're real. I know those other ones, like, it was obvious that they were real, but. So we have these ones, and we are gonna join a club that is my favorite club to join at the tide pools. And for this club, we watch one tide pool, and today we're gonna watch our little tank for 1 minute. It's called the 1 Minute Club, because there's a lot of small creatures in the tide pools that can be kind of camouflaged or maybe wrapped around each other that can.
Wants to know if those are alive.
They sure are. awesome notices, and you can also share some of those I wonders and it reminds me of. Those are great ways to use your observation skills while joining the 1 Minute Club. Take a few more seconds to make another observation, and then we'd love to hear some of yours.
So give us some information about the things that you see. You can tell us about the color or the texture, or you can even compare things inside. Tell us maybe about the shape, things you notice, or even some of adaptations you think these animals might have that help them survive in the ocean, in the tide pools. That word adaptations, if you forgot, means ways that these animals are specifically made that help them survive out there. So we're gonna start to take some answers from our audience of naturalists. Or we got comments already. Yeah, come on up.
Charlie said she saw a giant snail sucking the shell.
Oh.
Well, maybe she's talking about one of those turban snails.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Possibly. And Ruby said she saw the starfish's foot.
Yeah. Nice job, Ruby. Do you want to explain what the starfish
So, thanks for telling us those things. So these things, they're not actually fish, because if you feel in your back, you feel you have a bone back there, and these don't have bones. These are called sea stars. They look just like stars. And you can see that I'm going to reach in and grab one of these so that we can look at the feet more closely. Who wants to come? Remember, we're just going to tug gently. And so you can see on the bottom, it has all of these feet, and you can even see some of them moving a little bit. It has tons of tiny tube feet that help it walk. You can see some of them moving over there on the end. And another really cool fact about a sea star is its stomach is actually right here. And when it wants to eat something, it takes its stomach outside of its body and eats outside, and then it brings its stomach back inside. And you can see also that we have 2 sea stars in this tank. We have this sea star in my hand, and we have this sea star on the rock down here. And I would love to hear some observations you make about the differences between these 2 sea stars. You can compare them and tell us some differences. And while you do that, we're going to tell you some other cool facts about some of the other animals in here. So I'll hold this guy right here, so you can look and make some observations about the comparison between these 2.
Nice. All right. And one of my favorite tide pool creatures that I'll show you guys, you might have seen him walking around, is this hermit crab. We'll see if he wants to hang out and poke his little face out of here. But hermit crabs are really cool, and they live inside these shells, and they need to move to bigger and bigger ones as they grow larger and larger, but they can't actually make these shells for themselves. So they have to rely on the sea snails that make the shells. And then they use them once the sea snails are gone. And let's see if we can peek inside. He's tucked himself really far back in there. You can just see the tip of his little claws. So they can hide in there to protect themselves. It's an adaptation that they have.
Looks like we have some comments about some things people have been noticing.
Well, specifically about the crab, Amita noticed that it was moving before. Yeah. And then Olivia noticed some little antenna things coming out, and she's wondering if that's how they eat. Do you think those antennae were coming from the crab, or do you also have a sea snail in there?
We do have there definitely are some antennae coming from the crab, and it's definitely helping them feel out what's in front of them.
Oh yeah, there he goes. Walking around.
Good. Haranjit noticed a lobster-like looking creature, and they said that it looks like it's dancing to the music.
Doing the tide pool boogie along with us.
Yeah. Oh, and yeah, it looks like we have a sea snail hanging onto the rock that you might be seeing the tentacles on.
We have a couple more comparisons from the students. Talia said that one of the sea stars looks older than the other. And Melissa said that one of the sea stars on the rocks is more orange.
That's definitely true. This one is more orange, and I'd love to hear why you think the sea star is older than the one. Why you think one is older than the other. So, Lady Nightshade, I want to bring you out to join a really cool club out here.
I'm back.
So, one of our
I had to
favorite.
exchange my footwear.
That's okay. Those are hard to walk in on dry land. I
Yes.
know. So we have a really cool creature in here. We have a sea anemone.
Okay.
And the sea anemone, even though it might not look dangerous, is actually a carnivore. It actually eats meat, and so it'll eat things that come inside of it.
Whoa.
And if you poke your finger in the inside, it might try to, it's going to start to try to eat you, but it's not strong enough to do that, but it will feel like it's giving you a hug.
Oh.
So why don't you, do you see that sea anemone right
Yeah,
there? Why don't you
okay.
put your finger inside and see if it tries to grab on?
Oh, it's sticking to me. Oh my goodness. Oh.
Yeah, well, that's that sea anemone trying to eat your finger, Lady Nightshade.
What?
But see how it's
No.
not quite strong enough to do that?
Okay, that's good. Whoa, it feels really cool. It's like, what does it remind me of? It reminds me of, like, glue, almost.
You can tell us what this creature reminds you of just from looking at it or watching Lady Nightshade interact with it in the comments.
Oh, it closed up a little bit, too.
Yeah, it's trying to gather in. And although these creatures are some of the coolest and craziest you'll meet, it's time to go to our next ecosystem.
Bye, friends.
We're gonna say goodbye to these really awesome creatures.
And we are going to travel to the marsh.
We don't need those safety
And we
vests
don't need
anymore.
these safety vests anymore. Safety is always important. Now, we're in the marsh, which has a little bit more solid land in it. And you might not necessarily think of the marsh when you first think of ocean ecosystems. You think of like the beach and the open ocean, some tide pools. But the marsh is a really important ecosystem, and it has more of some of my favorite animals, which are birds. And birds have some really cool adaptations.
They do. And they have tons of, there's so many different kinds of birds. They have so many different kinds of adaptations to help them eat and survive out in the area. And the marsh has just a huge diversity of birds. There's so many different kinds of birds.
That's
So-
right. And I think I saw these birds. These birds, like, they're kind of flying around
Yeah?
over here. And
I don't
they
see
had these really cool beaks, and their feathers were they're like some of the most beautiful birds I've ever seen. And I was watching them fly around, and it just reminded me of this song we have.
Oh.
So I think like while the birds are, there they are. They're the birds. Oh, they're beautiful. Wow. Oh, whoa. They're huge.
Whoa.
Those birds are beautiful. Birds, you want to stand right there? Whoa. Birds, why don't you stand on top of the log? Beautiful. So it reminded me of this song that we are going to teach you guys. So please sing along with us. It's really fun and can help us learn about some of these birds behind us. So repeat after me.
Repeat after me.
And do as I do.
And do as I do.
Beaks, feet, feathers and wings.
Beaks, feet, feathers and wings.
In the mountains or down by the shore.
In the mountains or down by the shore.
Beaks, feet, feathers and wings.
Beaks, feet, feathers and wings.
Here's what we use them for.
Here's what we use them for.
And that's kind of like our chorus of this song. And in between each of those choruses, one of our birds is going to have a little bit of a rhyme for you guys to guess what it is that they eat. So, for example, a bird might say, a beak can tell you what that bird needs. A round, blunt beak, that bird eats seeds.
See how seeds and needs rhyme with each other? All of the lines are going to be like that.
Yeah. So, let's have our first bird tell us their rhyme. Why don't you come on up?
Okay. A beak can grab its favorite dish. A long, sharp beak can stab a...
Tell us in the comments.
Yeah, if you know that, tell it in the comments and we'll read it out after we sing that chorus one more time.
Beaks, feet, feathers and wings. In the mountains or down by the shore. Where the wings are. Beaks, feet, feathers and wings. Here's what they use them for.
Smita said fish.
Yes! That was fish! You guys
Let's have our next bird. Come on.
Yeah.
Mine's a little bit different.
Sometimes a beak digs in the muck like the wide, flat bill of a...
So for this one, you're guessing what animal that is.
And we'll sing the chorus in the meantime.
Beaks, feet, feathers and wings in the mountains or down by the shore. Beaks, feet, feathers and wings, here's what they use them for.
Barbara thinks it's a duck.
Yeah!
Nice job, Barbara. All right.
Yeah, Barbs.
All right. A beak can tell you what I eat. A sharp, curved beak I eat. If you know what that bird eats, tell us in the comments while we sing this chorus. Beaks, feet, feathers and wings in the mountains or down by the shore. Flap, flap, flap. Beaks, feet, feathers and wings. Here's what they use them for.
Oh, looks like our bird is back with an answer.
Leanne thinks meat.
Yeah! Nice job, Leanne. That's right. This bird eats meat. All right, let's sing that chorus one more time. Great job guessing all those rhymes. Let's sing and dance our birds on out of here.
Beaks, feet, feathers and wings in the mountains or down by the shore. Beaks, feet, feathers and wings, here's what they use them for.
So, thank you so much to our birds. We actually have some real birds to show you. These birds, they're taxidermied, which means they're real birds that have been preserved for scientific use. And we have them in our museum and at Outdoor Ed. These birds all died of natural causes. We did not hurt them in any way, but we do get to learn from them, which is pretty cool. So this is our first bird, and you might recognize it as a duck from one of the songs, and you can see that it has this same beak that we talked about. And if you notice any other adaptations that this bird has to help it survive, please let us know in the comments. And for comparison, we want to show you another bird that's pretty similar. This bird is called a coot, and you might be able to tell that they have similar beaks, and they use them to dig in the muck and to eat all the things that they might find there. But they are different, so if you see any differences between these birds that you think might be some of the reasons that they survive a little bit differently, please let us know in the comments. And I'll give you a full 360 of these birds so you can see them. Bird butt.
Fluffy.
Eh.
Make sure you take a look at those cool feet.
It's not just beaks that are different. Hard to get the perfect camera angle. While you're thinking about that, we have some other birds to show you.
Noticed that the duck has webbed feet.
That's awesome. So we have a giant webbed foot to show you, for example. And you can see that, does anyone tell us what they think these webbed feet might be good for?
Olivia thinks they might be good for swimming.
Yeah, these are really good for swimming, and we can show you. This is not the foot of a duck, this is the foot of a goose, but it has those same webbed feet. We can show you for comparison. The feet of the coot they don't have that same kind of webbing, which makes it harder for them to swim, which means, which bird do you think is better adapted in its feet for swimming in the water where they both live? You can let us know in the comments. We're going to show you another bird.
Scow! Here comes a really dangerous bird!
Ah! So, this bird is a hawk, and you can see its beak that we talked about in the song is sharp and curved. If anyone remembers what kind of thing this bird eats, you can let us know in the comments. And it also has these sharp, curved nails on their feet. And what do you think those might be good for? These are some adaptations that help this animal survive and help it capture its food. So remember, this sharp, curved beak is really good for eating a certain kind of food that this hawk might eat. And you can see another example of those feet.
Smita thinks it might eat meat with that beak.
That is exactly right. This bird does like to eat all kinds of small mammals, mice and voles and anything can get its little claws on. Ah!
Trina's noticing its huge eyes.
Yeah, why do you think this bird might have these really big eyes? Does anyone have any ideas?
All right, you might want to back up for this one. We've got a
Uh-oh.
big one flying in. Here it comes. Whoosh.
Whoa! This bird is very much close to my size. This bird is called a great blue heron. And if anyone can tell us what kind of food its beak is adapted for, you can let us know. And what other adaptations it has that might help it survive in the marsh. I'll show you a full 360 bird. Ooh.
Whoa, those legs are miles long.
And Soleil has a really cool beak to show you
Yeah.
of this bird.
So this is the skull of one of these birds. You can see similarities of the beak. So a really cool adaptation that a great blue heron has in its beak is that helps it get what it eats, which is fish. So if you guessed that right down below, nice job. Yeah, you want to show that behind it? So you can see its long beak. Cool. And so the cool part about this beak is that when it dives down and grabs a fish out of the water, there are ridges in the beak that grab onto it, kind of like a ton of really tiny fish hooks that hook onto it and help and make sure that when they're flying away with that fish, that it doesn't fall out of their mouth. So it slides in easily, but then gets kind of stuck there.
So it's crazy, but our time at the beach is almost over, and we visited 3 really cool ecosystems. We visited the open ocean, the rocky shore, and the marsh. We want to tell you some cool activities that you can do at home to help keep you in that beach day mindset. So the first thing that you can do is you can always go looking for birds. It's not just the marsh that has all kinds of birds, but you can see them out your window, out your front door, in your backyard, just flying on the street. You can always look to see what things you notice, what things you wonder, and what these birds remind you of. And remember, you can also practice those coyote ears that you learned earlier this week to help you listen to the sound. And maybe you can even spot the beak and the feet and look for some adaptations that these birds have that help them survive, because birds eat lots of things and they have different beaks to help them survive. And then the last activity that you can do is called Create a Critter. And the way Create a Critter works is you think about all of the things that a bird or a creature might need to survive, and then you just make one up. So you don't have to create a creature that already exists, but you do need to think about some important things that it has adaptations for. So the first thing is what it's going to eat. Because a bird, like we talked about, these birds have different beaks that are adapted to help them eat, and the sea star has that cool adaptation where it takes its stomach outside of its body. You need to think where it's going to live or have shelter. So we talked about different animals that live in different ecosystems and the adaptations that they have, like like the hermit crabs have adaptation where they live inside the shells created by the sea slugs. And the third thing that we need to think about adaptations for is how to protect itself. Because we've seen that some of these animals are predators that eat other animals. So we want to think about how it can get protection from these creatures. Like we talked about echinoderms or sea stars with skin that's spiny. That helps them be protected from animals who might want to eat them. And Soleil over here has an example of what Create a Critter looks like.
That's right. I have a beautiful critter that I just created. I decided to make a bird because we've been talking a lot about some really cool adaptations they have. So this is my drawing of a bird. You can spend a lot longer than that drawing a really cool creature with anything you want. And this bird eats meat. You can see that long curved beak. It lives in a tree. And for protection, it's got some big claws to protect itself. So that's the animal I created. And
we have one more really cool thing that you can do at home after this live stream is over. Is you can go online to the Monterey Bay Aquarium, and we'll post the link to this in the comments. We'll pin it to the top, and you can look inside the aquarium and all these different live cameras, which show you a ton of different ecosystems and a ton of different creatures that you might not get to see. So you can watch the jellyfish and the sharks. You can look inside of a kelp forest, which is an ecosystem within the open ocean that we didn't get to talk about today. And you can watch, there's a bunch of different cameras. You can watch the birds, you can watch the fish, you can watch the sharks, so many different creatures that you can watch. So just to remind you, you can do all these things. You can go bird watching, you can create a critter, you can go to the Monterey Bay Aquarium live cameras and look at all of the different cool creatures. So we want to thank you so much for joining us on Beach Day. We loved sharing all this with you. We loved all of your awesome comments. We hope you enjoyed getting to see some of our really cool live animals and some of our animals that used to be alive.
Yeah, we hope you had a lot of fun singing those songs and learned some stuff too.
Remember, we have campfire tonight from 6:30 to 7:30, and with
The two best buds. We're gonna teach you tonight about how to have an awesome campfire and maybe roast some s'mores.
no.
Tell some good campfire stories. Maybe even look at the night sky. It's gonna be sweet. See you there.
And you can always check out our newsletter for more information. And remember, slime on!